All right, let's dive into what Todd has to say. Todd, I started a new job and I'm unsure if it was the right move. I mean, you're there now. So it is what it is. But I think, Todd, eh, in order for me to be helpful to you on that level, we're going to focus a little bit on like what next? What's the best thing to do from here rather than any kind of like should have done it the other way because things are what they are. Let's just work with them as they are and move forward. Now, if the advice is go back, if that's even possible, then that'll come up. That's what'll come up in the reading. Um, but my instinct right away is that that's probably not the case. Um, and we're just going to focus a little bit more on how to make this work for you or how to try something else. I don't know. I get like a whole collection of things before I even start with the cards here right now on this. And it's all messy. I'm going to have to use the cards to sort it all out, but I need to coffee first. Why am I talking about coffee so much today? I never do that. I'm weirdly obsessed. Okay, let's see what we got. And this is a new pattern for me. I've never seen this before. Um, okay. So I know that let's just start with how you feel right now. This is the new guy feeling, very much. Just symbolically, the notion being that you're feeling like you're there, you're doing the job, but you wouldn't call it uh, wildly successful at the job yet. You're getting there, okay? We're gonna, but you're surviving. Nobody's got a major complaint about the job you're doing. It's not like that, but it feels like you're not really certain that you're good at this right now. So there's this notion, and also the fact that you're not necessarily getting along with people. It's not that there's friction because that's not necessarily the case either. Not sorry, not unusual friction. Nothing out of the ordinary. But at the same time, there's this notion of like you don't have friends. It's there's this sense of being a little lonely when you're there. Um, and that's what I've just described is like the new guy. Like I don't even need cards to have said any of that, although it does happen to match. But it's just this like yeah, um, being new at a place. But there's also this other thing. I think you're getting a kind of like a disillusionment, a sense of disillusionment now that you're there. And that's not always the case, but now that you're there, you kind of had a hope for what it would be like. And now that you're there, you're finding out it's not that way. I don't know what that means, by the way, um, Todd, and that's fine. I don't need to know what that means, but hopefully that makes more sense to you than it does to me. But there's a sense of like you got there and it's definitely not. You had a very clear image in your mind of what it was going to be like to be there. And once you got there, it just doesn't feel like that at all. It's definitely a feeling thing rather than even though this is a sword, it's definitely a feeling thing. Um, okay. So moving forward, one of the big things is that while you're there, it's probably a really good idea to find a mentor. But specifically, you're looking for someone who you would never have normally considered to be a mentor. Someone who Your, when you think of a mentor, that's not what they look like. But, but there's someone who, when you talk to them about what you're experiencing in as honest and unjudgmental language as you can muster, they go, yeah, well, okay. And they have something positive to say to you that's based on their experience. They've been there a long time. Um, One thing I'm not totally clear on, Todd, right now is that I don't know if this person is a supervisor slash manager. Like that's my inclination is that it's like a supervisor, like one step up, manager, supervisor thing. Um, but this could just as easily be someone who's been there for 20 years and as a peer, someone who's kind of uh, in the same group as you. So it's sort of on that level. I'm not, for whatever reason, I'm really blocked on that. And I'm not sure why I'm so blocked. Like I'm really, really blocked on that. So for whatever reason, I'm not supposed to know, or sorry, I'm not supposed to be able to give you clarification on that. Um, but anyway, it's someone who you wouldn't normally think of that way, um, who is very, very patient. And when you talk to them, they sincerely have your best interest at heart rather than necessarily the company's, even though, of course, they're a company man. Um, and I really get the sense that you'll be looking elsewhere and won't know where to start. So you're there until you leave. And I get the sense right away that you're going to want to, but you'll feel a little stuck. And I don't know how much room I got here. You know, quitting is a bad idea. So that's the one thing I got right away is probably don't quit just without a plan. I mean, you know, if and when you go, it needs to be with love in your heart. Okay, just like this wasn't for me, but I love you all and wish you all the best. It has to be on that level because you could short term just have a blow up and say screw this and march out because you feel stuck and you're tired of feeling stuck. And that's a possibility. You could do that, and that would leave you with like nothing. That would sort of suck. I'm not saying that you couldn't eventually make it all work out, but that would just leave you with nothing to do next, and you would kind of feel a lot of regret about that down the road. So I you wouldn't like it if you did that. You wouldn't enjoy it. You wouldn't enjoy it during or after. So the other perspective is to use this time while you're there to build towards something you'd rather do. And that means um, working a job that you don't find you enjoy, but that's okay because you know that you're building towards the other thing. And try your best to appreciate that there are people there that really like being there, and that's okay. And it's just a personality. Like, I am this kind of person, they are this kind of person, and so it works for them and not for me. It's just on that level. And love and appreciate them for that. And try not to bitch at them too much because that's kind of ruining their day. So even though you're not having fun, try not to make that their problem. Um, and you will have friends. Like you will carry forward friends from this job that will last for years. You absolutely will. You'll get there, but it's coming on the other end of building out towards something else. The something else is something that you have to train in to get. I'm I get the sense you already know what it is. Um, I don't, but you do. You know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that you're going to have to train in order to be able to do this other thing. And in order to afford that training, you're going to have to do the after work education and or after work training and all that stuff. And it's going to be a pain in the butt. It totally is. It's going to be just exhausting for a while. But on the far end of it, you finally get to do what you really wanted to do, and it would not have been possible if you didn't come here first. Just wouldn't have been possible. You wouldn't have had the money. And so you need this. You need to be where you are right now in order to make the future possible. This is exactly where fate wanted you. This was this really does feel like you are in the right place at the right time, even though the job isn't long term where you're supposed to be at all. Like it's not a match. It's not a fit. But fate put you here on purpose because you're supposed to meet these people and make these connections. Uh, Find a way every day to appreciate them for who they are. Just by doing that, that's how your connections are forged, by just appreciating them. And and that's something that later on down the road, when you move on, uh, will have a power and a strength you can't predict right now. It's going to mean a lot down the road. So anyway, that's the path as I see it. A reminder of what you see on screen. Um, I am a jackass with a deck of cards. Okay, like and these are pieces of paper with pictures on them. Like that's what's happening right now. So I am passing on what I'm getting. But next week, if you find you love the job, then I'm an idiot. Forget me, please. Okay, like if you find you love it there, then great. And don't let me convince you not to be happy. If you're happy, you're happy. Okay. But what I see or what I'm getting is that that's not the case, or if you are, it won't last. And that's okay. Just keep training and you'll be able to move into where you really wanted to be. Okay. So you're not screwed. You will never be screwed by any means unless you just quit and huff because you're sick of it. Then you're kind of screwed. That's a potential. You have that option.